Sportingwood, Gov. Back in, baby. Back in. Gov wins 2 games in a row. You guys are getting basically consecutive podcasts. That's how this works. But in all seriousness, this is the midpoint of the season, and definitely starting to see things settle. Teams are starting to show their stripes, the good and the bad. So Gov's put together a special kind of show for you guys tonight. Risers, fallers, and then there's the cream of the crop, and then there's the meh. So I put a little bit of research, made a few notes, so you're basically going to hear me ramble on for the next little while with some nonsense. But the one top note I made this year, after looking at everybody's teams and trying to place all these teams, is the parity in this league. It's crazy. This is, I think I've said this a few times in the past, but this year in particular, man, there's even in trying to identify the best teams, it's quite a big mix. Like, I put a lot of teams up in that top tier. There's a few obvious bottom feeders, but the risers and the fallers and the cream, there's not a huge separation. But without further ado, let's get after it. So let's start with the number one riser right now in the league, and I'm going to go with going off the hot injury of Shohei Ohtani. Chalk is the number one riser. I actually was debating chalk between the cream of the crop and the riser, but the Ohtani injury and actually just a record that I would have expected to be a little bit better, but yeah, what do you think? You're first or second in the league in points for? Having some technical difficulties here. Let's see. Number one in points for, but only 5-4 in the top of your division. So very well could make the cream of the crop here. Gotts, you're right up there with the big boys, which is good to see after a couple long, lean years and silence out of you on the group chat. All of a sudden, a guy has a decent team, and we've heard you from now more than ever. Funny how that works. It's kind of like a guy who does podcasts for this league. Moving on. We're going to go down to the number one faller right now. The number one team that is plummeting down. And that is Jason. What's your name this year? Cruising to the Dirty Sanchez. The man started off hot. 4 in a row. Again, active on the chat. All of a sudden, 5 losses in a row, and all of a sudden, ghost town. We're not getting any big updates about his guys hitting home runs every second or third day. Yeah, so unfortunately, Jay, I didn't even realize that. 5 in a row. And then I have a look at the team. Yeah, Bellinger has just not got it together this year. And looks like you've had some unlucky pitching. I don't know. Kind of still like your roster when I look at it. But there's a few holes. And season's not over for you. You're still 4-5. Right in the mix, but as far as a team trending in the wrong direction right now, you're the number one team doing so. So now I'm going to bounce back to the risers. Bounce back to another riser. Kenton. I was struggling with something to come up with as far as Kenton didn't really fall into any of these categories because he's just been steady Eddie all year long. He's kind of middle of the pack. He's 5-4, second in his division, middle of the pack in points scored. You know, but I like his roster. You need pitching. You got some questionable pitchers, but you know, if Sonny Gray keeps doing what he can do, David Price steps up. Tyson Ross has been a nice pickup for you, and then you got Greinke. So that's not bad if those guys come together. And then now you got Miggy back, Brantley's back, Bregman's starting to pick it up. Yep, He sure is. Anyways, Kenton is definitely back on the riser side of things. We're going to knock out our first meh team. And the obvious meh right now, I think the number one meh team out there is Team Tommy John, a.k.a. Team Reggie. Man's in fire sale mode, so that makes his season and team kind of meh because he's selling off parts. But I thought I saw that there'd be some co-ownership that continued on with Dally still in the league. I think that's a best case scenario. Good to see Dally still stick around if that's a possibility. So anyways, once again, I don't think it's been acknowledged in an actual podcast, but cheers to Reggie for stepping up. Great to have you back, buddy. Good to have the energy on the chat. So keep ruffling feathers, bro. Mine especially. Next, we're going to go to the number one cream team. Cream of the crops right now is the Isotopes, no questions. So, the peripherals don't really suggest that he's the best team. Yeah, he's 6th in points for, but he's 8-1. Let's see this. Yeah, he's right at the bottom in points again. So anyways, I think the 8-1's a little smoke and mirrors, but you've done this without Carlos Martinez. You've done this without Robbie Ray. So you actually have upside. Like, you've gotten lucky, I think, to be 8-1, but now you're starting to get some guys back, and I think you're a pretty scary team this year. Still got some holes. I don't love your first base. First base is a weird position this year. And you could use some help. You told me to talk about Cesar Hernandez. Yay, Cesar Hernandez, 2.5 points a game, second baseman, 9th ranked in his position. Yay. Way to go, man. Moving on. Number one team. Congratulations. Riser. I'm going to call the Gov a riser right now. So Gov's won 2 in a row. Back up to 4 and 5. And I just lost another pitcher today, but I'm supposed to get other pitchers back. Supposed to get Cespedes back. Thames is back. Oh, sweet. Judge, day to day. Jammed his left thumb. Right on. Sweet. Anyways, if I still got all my guys projected to come back, and I've treaded water at 4 and 5. If I can get some health, I'm going to be an actual fucking scary team if I ever get healthy. Can't make any trades. All my guys are at bad value. I can't do anything. But anyways, Govs are riser. Coming for you. The next faller, Tups. Tups is the next faller. And Tups is probably the biggest beneficiary of a winning record this year. But he's falling. He's right now at the top of his division at 5 and 4. But Tups has the second least amount of points scored in the league. And he's lost 4 of 6. And those 2 wins both came with him scoring under 200 points. So either make some moves or watch your team fall off a cliff, because you were arguably the number one falling team in the league if it wasn't for Jay's 5-game losing streak. Next. Over to the next creamy team. Next creamy team is Vanderwall. And I'm really happy to see this. If I'm obviously cheering for myself above anybody in this league, but if I'm going to cheer for anybody else, Vanderwall, it's you. And you got a good team. I mean, I fucking gifted you Mookie Betts, so that helped. Mad Bum is back now. Porcello's pitching well this year. Michael Wacha's pitching well this year. Kyle Hendricks, you got some good pieces. Edwin is the hottest bat in the league. Altuve. I don't love your outfield. Anyways, you got some really nice pieces and are fucking killing it. You're right up there. I think you're second in the league in points for. Third. You are third in points for. Behind Bopper. Bopper is the next cream of the crop team. So while this has definitely not been one of Bop's strongest teams that he's rolled out there, you still got some heavy hitters. Scherzer's the heaviest hitter in the league right now, I think. I think that's fair to say. Yeah, the guy's just absolutely fucking dominant. So he's still got, the big boys. He's got the Charlie Blackmons. He's got the Joey Vottos. And Joey Votto's not even played well this year. Starting to now. But, he's still got parts. He's still going to be there in the end. He's got nothing out of Donaldson. Eaton. Are you going to get Eaton back? That'd be big. JD's mashing right now. So Bop Dog is still Bop Dogs. Maybe not as Bopper-esque as he's been in years past, but the man is still there and wreaking havoc. So moving on to the next falling team. Next falling team, the Bullies. And you just don't have anything sexy about your team. You've lost 2 in a row. Your points for are way down. I think you've had some lucky wins this year too, because you are... Where's Slots? Where are the Bullies? Well, you're last in your division, in the toughest division too. You're 4-5. That's crazy. You're even 4-5 in that division. But you are, you're right at the bottom. Lost 2 in a row. And you've had no injuries, man. You don't have any red ink next to any of your teams. So the fact that you're only 4-5, lost 2 in a row in the hardest division in the league, you're falling. So, but cheers for making a draft this year, Brad. Next team. The next team is Miracle. Miracle's because got off to a bad start this year. But Miracle, I'm surprised to actually see where you are. Sounds like you're a seller. You just gave away Sale. Didn't like what you got for Sale. But you're actually in the middle of pack in points for. I think you've had some bad luck. And it's a long season, in my opinion, and maybe even gave up a little early. You haven't gotten the best out of Carrasco. I don't know. Lester's serviceable. Yeah, he's pretty good, man. Sean Newcomb. Who is this kid? This is the big piece he got back. So it's all on him. But, it's too bad. You got Machado, you got Trout. Kemp's been playing really well. I think you got probably some bad luck. But you still got some really nice parts. I'm surprised you're where you are in the standings. And maybe should have tried to hang